social anxiety coach. Question that I want you to start with is, if nobody else judged your social life and you didn't care what other people thought, how would you want your overall social life to look like? This is about defining social success on your own terms. It's so easy to fall into the trap of trying to please someone else's standards. Maybe you're a naturally quiet person and you've been told for years and years and years that you should be speaking more. And here's the thing: if fear is the reason why you're not speaking more, and secretly you want to be speaking all the time, then overcoming the fear and being yourself is going to result in you joining in conversations more. But if you're naturally quiet, that's completely different. It's about how you would act without the fear and blockages there. Social success is when you like the way that you're presenting yourself, you enjoy yourself, and it's completely up to you how you want your social life to really look, as long as it's not designed from a place of fear. So, for example, there's a girl that I coach, Samantha, really nice person, and she just massively prefers one-to-one conversations to groups. She can go into groups. She's got no problem doing that, but she just enjoys the deeper conversations one-to-one with people so much more. And in her case, reconnecting with friends, family members that she'd lost touch with, making new friends, has really helped her out and helped her feel less restricted and closed off in her life, more expansive. And that just fits perfectly with her vibe and what she's looking for. And for me personally, over the years, my definition of social success has shifted. So if you go back quite some time ago, high school, college, um, when I was doing my degree at university, honestly, my goal was just to overcome my anxiety. And I used to always think to myself, if I can get to a stage where I'm not just massively held back by anxiety and fear, I don't feel paralyzed by social anxiety, which is how I used to feel. That if I can just get rid of this anxiety, then I've succeeded. So that was one of my initial goals, but this actually changed over time. I then got to a stage where I wasn't so anxious, but I still wasn't confident either. And there was just situations and certain dynamics that made me really anxious, but I was okay overall, but still a bit closed off. At that stage, my definition for social success, it changed again from wanting to overcome general anxiety around people to wanting to feel like I can be myself, to feel confident in who I am, and just have that authenticity and really connect with people. Then I achieved that over some time, lots of hard work, received lots of coaching myself. And a really key thing, which is so simple that people often overlook it. Social success, it involves enjoying yourself when connecting with people. Because what's the point in actually overcoming social anxiety, feeling really confident around people, if you're not enjoying yourself? Social anxiety is hiding from people and avoiding people due to fear. So to not avoid people, you you really have to be able to have a good time around people that feels encouraging in general. And of course, have the resilience to bounce back when you don't have that positive experience that you're hoping for, when things don't go the way that you plan them out. But it's really empowering to know that you don't need to please other people's standards. And there's always a fear. For some people, depending on your level of self awareness and how deep you want to go, it's very, very possible that there's a particular person's standards that you're trying to live up to when you're out there socializing. It could be a parent, authority figure, um, someone from school, and you're thinking what would be acceptable in that person's eyes, and you're trying to replicate the same thing, but in your current social life, even when you've changed and times have changed. And the problem with trying to live up to someone else's standards in socializing is it creates this pressure to perform. And you might think that some people perform well under pressure. I actually think that this is partly true and partly not true. So, the way that I personally perform at my best is by taking the pressure off, even when there's perceived pressure. So, if I'm doing an event, a public talk, coaching somebody, I take all the pressure off myself because I know that the pressure isn't going to help me out. And I focus entirely on giving value. All my energy is geared towards that. But without pressure, because the pressure just gets in the way. You can use the pressure to spur you on. You can use it as energy. But you want to get past that pressure. You don't want to feel that pressure and have it affect your ability to be yourself and have a good time. And if you realize that, wait a second, who am I trying to please in social situations? I'm trying to please my mum, my dad, my brother. There's some sort of person standards that you're trying to live up to. You can now recognize that, not identify with it so strongly, and start to create a new pattern where rather than trying to live up to someone else's standards, you create your own standards and you live up to those. So much less pressure and less fear. And if you like the person that you're being, you're going to generally feel good. What is social success to a lot of people? To a lot of people, social success is being able to be themselves, no matter who they're speaking to. I think this is a great starting point, a great idea. And of course, it is fully possible around the right people. You could say that it's possible to be yourself around everybody. It's just that when it's a difficult person, you'll need to be a protected and a different version of yourself. And a lot of it is, it's simple when you're doing it, but it doesn't mean that it's easy. This is something that I really learned, internalized from being coached. Things can be simple and difficult at the same time. Intellectually, very, very, very simple. Just expressing yourself authentically, connecting with people, feeling that sense of alignment, talking with emotions, having a great time, keeping it nice and light on positive topics, um, some sort of shared presence between different people. But just because something's simple doesn't mean it's easy. It can require a lot of courage. Facing the fear of letting your guard down. There's a vulnerability there. It's not easy to do that. I'm just going to see if I can make it a bit less blurry. There's often parts of ourselves that we instinctively hide from other people as well, because we're afraid of a judgment coming our way. And we might think that part of our personality, part of who we are, isn't good enough to bring into the light of judgment. And because of this, we might be holding back parts of ourselves when we're socializing. Being very, very careful about which sides of our personality we put forwards and which we keep in the shadows, what parts we lock away. And if you're doing that, it can feel exhausting. The guy that I used to follow on YouTube, who had a lot of really, really good content, he would call that persona fatigue. The fatigue of trying to be someone that you're not. And honestly, it's so exhausting, so much pressure. And as soon as you can just let go of that, not worry about trying to be someone else because there's no need to be. Where's the end game in that? You're going to be so much more relaxed, carry yourself with much more lightness, a lot more joy, and you're just going to have an easier time connecting with people and having a blast. And it's not easy to get parts of yourself out there that you might think are not good enough. Maybe that part of you got shamed growing up. That doesn't mean that it's a bad part of you. It just means that you had a bad experience with that part of you when you was growing up. But when you can bring out more of your personality and it gets accepted, you get more confident just bringing the full spectrum of who you are onto the table. And things just go very, very, very differently. And the more you can get yourself out there, the easier it is to connect with people. And the more fun you're going to have because less of your brain's focused on hiding. So there's less energy being wasted and less fatigue going on by repressing parts of yourself. So socializing is suddenly going to be a lot less draining because you're not wasting loads of energy keeping parts of yourself under wraps, thinking, I can't say this thing, can't express my actual opinion, I can't show this side of my personality because it won't be accepted. Instead, just choosing to be yourself. And something that I've realized is, as a rule of thumb, as long as you're expressing yourself from a place of empathy, you can express any part of yourself in any way, and it's almost never going to hurt somebody else. So if you're worried about other people's feelings, as long as there's that filter of empathy, which will kick in for most people in social settings, then you're good. And this is why I do my in-person events, and virtual ones are going to come in the summer when I've got my camera set up really, really good. And the whole idea is to get people to take the false pressure off themselves, be themselves in semi-structured social situations, and just build a lot of confidence. And I'm sure you can appreciate that if you can go to social situations not feeling super anxious, just feeling nice and relaxed and comfortable. If you can speak to new people like you speak to people who you're super comfortable with already, if you're a lot more confident, you're just being yourself, it's nice and light, you're going to have a much better time, make more friends, and great things will come into your life. You're going to enjoy socializing a lot more. And that's the purpose of my events. And because the topic's social anxiety, I know that the best results are going to be obtained from real world experience. So, for example, something that I've been doing in the past month that I'm going to continue to do is walk-in tours in Birmingham. So in the future, I'm going to add public speaking coaching as a service, something that I do, as well as my social anxiety coaching. Because of course, public speaking is a massive fear which holds people back in their career, life, and it's one of the number one ways to build confidence around people. So you're going to get so much from public speaking, especially the kind where you're speaking from the heart, not where you're performing, reading a script in a very, very, in a character, in that sort of way, where you're not hiding, you're really being yourself when you're speaking. That's when you're going to get the most confidence. So I thought, how can I personally practice loads of public speaking to get that particular service up to my usual high standards? So as well as my in-person events, which I do once a month, I thought let's do some walk-in tours in Birmingham City where I'm based. And I'm doing about 3 a week. I'm actually going to finish this live stream in a bit to do this morning's walk-in tour. So I'm meeting people from all around the world, different size groups. It's 11 people today. It was 12 a couple of days ago. Alexa, stop. My Amazon device going off. So yeah, I'm meeting people from around the world. It's got that sort of stand-up comedy type vibe to it, where I'm expecting to be heckled, have people ask me questions, test my knowledge. But I'm doing the public speaking multiple times a week through these walk-in tours. And this is a great way to build confidence. And what I've learned is that the more confident I've become as a person, the more competent in social settings, relationships, human dynamics, whatever you want to call it, proper interactions. The more competent and confident I've become, the higher my self esteem has been, and the easier time I've had enjoying myself and connecting with people. And the growth that I'm getting from all the public speaking is something that I wouldn't be able to get from watching videos or just learning about public speaking. Theory, textbooks, not real world experience, that wouldn't help me out. It's the fear facing, it's the exposure therapy. That's what's going to actually work, which is why I do my in person events and my taster coaching session to give you guys a chance to really grow, experience that, and know that you're on the right track. So I'm going to have to shoot off now and get this walking tour in, coaching session later, 2 events tomorrow. Until next time, have a great rest of your day.